Welcome back to Rock Forever. We got a special guest. He is a guitarist, a songwriter, producer, runs his own studio and involved in a lot of great things. He's a part of the Diane&theDeductibles Project 3, and we're going to talk in depth with his work with Bill Ward Band, known from Black Sabbath, and all the recordings he's done. Please welcome Keith Lynch.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Doing great. Thanks for joining us. We're over here in the Studio City area, and we're beaming into the South Bay, El Segundo. So you're a little closer to the beach. So you're probably a few degrees cooler than we are. But
yeah, it is quite cool. June gloom has already come in, but I love it.
yeah. No, we love all these areas, Southern California. It's a real beautiful area. Which brings us, were you born here, or where did you grow up?
I grew up in Covina, over by Pasadena. And yeah, that long time ago, but that's where I started playing guitar. I've been playing guitar my whole adult life. Matter of fact, before I even became adult, 14 is when I started. I'm 62 now. And yeah, I grew up in Covina and been playing ever since.
Since high school. And what prompted to move over to the West Side, and how long have you been over there?
Well, it's funny you asked that. In high school, one of the things I always did, and not being a surfer, or, I like to be in the water, but I'm not really a swimmer. I just like to, I've always wanted to live at the beach. Even in high school, I was like, I just want to live at the beach. I love the ocean. So I told myself one day I'm going to move to the beach, and then one day buy a house. And that's exactly what happened. I've been here ever since, probably I'm going to say 84, something like that.
Oh, wow.
Long time. I've been living at the beach.
Yeah, the year of the Olympics here in LA. It was quite a
that's right.
Quite a year. Now, obviously, we're going to get into the Diane&theDeductibles project, but tell us about how you met, Bill Ward, who's famously the original co-founder of Black Sabbath and the original drummer of the group. How did you guys meet, and what clicked with that?
Well, what happened, it's so funny because when I was about 15, I've been playing guitar a year, but one of my friends said, hey man, let's go see Black Sabbath. Okay. And I remember being there and seeing the band, and I saw Bill Ward, didn't take any notice of him, just other than he was, one of the members. Little did I know, about 10 or 12 years later, I'd be playing with him in a band. It never occurred to me. But anyway, just he was in Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath has been a long, they kind of started breaking up way back when they got rid of Ozzy, but then he's back in, then he's back out, then he's back in. And that's the same that happened with Bill Ward. They had problems, staying together. Like so many of those big rock bands, they would go off and start their own bands. So Bill had a friend, and he was just talking to this guy one day that, hey, I'm starting my own band and I'm looking for a guitar player. So it was literally like that. So my friend called me, and he said, you're not going to believe who just called me looking for a guitar player. Bill Ward from Black Sabbath. Would you want to do an audition with him? And I said, well, of course I would. So that was about 1988 or 89, somewhere in there, 88. So we started playing together, and it took him a year because he was looking for the whole year, looking at other players too, which made me feel a little bit insecure, I might add, because I wanted to just go in, do the audition, and you got the gig. And I didn't, it's not that I didn't get it, it's that he didn't say, okay, you're my guy. So I watched him go through auditions for about a year. He never said go away, but he never said you got the gig and nobody else has the gig. So finally, about a year later, he said, you got the gig. And then we had already begun writing. And our first, one of the big hits on our first record from the Bill Ward Band, it's called Along the Way, was Bombers Can Open Bombays. And I co-wrote it with Bill and another guy, Rue Phillips. And next thing you know, I got an MTV and I'm playing lead guitar and Ozzy's singing. And it was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And just through a friend of a friend. So the funny thing is, there's just kind of behind the scenes story. A year before that, I had kind of stopped my music a little bit because my father was, he was sick of cancer. He ended up dying right before I met Bill Ward. But my father was sick, and I thought, well, he needs help. He owns a motel in Oceanside. Let me go down and be a motel manager in Oceanside. And so when I had gotten out of music, that's when my best gig had come. Go figure, right? Instead of being in the scene and making calls and trying to get it going on, it's when I was not in the scene and trying to be, of help to my family. that's when the call came to me that, hey, I got this guy looking for a guitar player. So that's how I met Bill. It was a fate thing. And then we've been friends ever since. Yesterday was his birthday. I called him yesterday, wished him happy
Yeah,
birthday.
absolutely. We saw that on the web. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's much like that. You know, we say the survivors, you just have to be, active, and you never know when this call or this opportunity or, this thing is going to call you. And
That's right.
like you say, sometimes when you're least looking for it, it might ring. So
There's
it,
this thing
it's
in our
fate.
culture, go after it, go after it. And I wasn't going after anything. I was trying to help my family. I'm in a big family, 8 children, and I was motel manager for a few months there. And that's when the call came in. It was the most bizarre thing, but that's how it went down.
Yeah. Now I know Jack Bruce was also part of that
Yeah.
album.
Yep.
How did that come? Did was Bill old friends with Jack or?
Well, Bill wanted the record to be, he wanted it to be guests. He had also had Zach Wild play on it, Ozzy, Bob Daisley, the bass player from one of Ozzy's band, the drummer for Kiss, Eric Singer. He came in. He had all kinds of people coming in and playing. So I remember, I remember after I was in the band, we were in the studio once, and I'm sitting there and we're jamming. One of our favorite things to do is to jam. I mean, just like, okay, ready, Marcus, at go, and you just start playing. And I look over and I'm jamming with Bill Ward and I'm jamming with Jack Bruce, and I'm thinking this is pretty cool. And we recorded like a half an hour jam session, and we were just making stuff up, but it was cool because there was two major legends, and I'm just playing my guitar, filling in wherever. I've got pretty good ears, so I can hear what's going on in real time and just jump in. So that was a real memorable moment that one time. We didn't write any music, but we sure jammed and recorded it, and it was a lot of fun playing with Jack that day.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Cream is a huge influence on a
Oh,
lot of these
sure.
bands, and Jack, his voice and his bass, are always missed. Well, that's incredible. I know you teach guitar, you run your studio there, you work obviously on various projects. What type of recording do you specialize there? What type of clientele, or what type of projects are perfect for your studio?
Well, you know what? Since it's a recording studio, and since I've been doing it for so long, I wouldn't even say I specialize in anything. My specialty is my ears, and I know how to run Pro Tools, and I know how to make pan things, and I know how to do things so that after you come in and record your thing, whatever the style of music it is, it sounds pretty good. I've even done some rap stuff. I don't have anything against rap. It's just not my specialty. That kind of sound, that kind of big low end, boom, 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 the rap thing is not my thing. It's not that I stay away from it. It's just that I don't get calls very often for that kind of stuff. But I have had a couple, and I've been able to get a good sound. Last Sunday, I did a thing. It was with a band. It was like heavy metal songs. And then 2 days later, I have this thing we're doing with this gal. She's singing her songs, and they're like old classics. Like oh, I got it right here. I can't even think of the name of her. Name is Debbie Chu, and she is, oh, be thou my vision, motherless child, wandering, the parting glass. I mean, these are old classic songs, and we're doing that, and it's orchestral, and it's beautiful, like totally beautiful music. So not heavy metal. So one day I'm doing this, and 2 days later I'm doing that. So it's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, it keeps you on your toes, and
Right.
diversity is a good thing.
It
Well,
is.
tell us about your contributions to Diane and the Deductibles. We're promoting their album 3, and we spoke to Robert Sarzo, and love to find out what your involvement has been. Have you recorded other albums with them, or you play with them when they do live shows? Give us an idea of your contributions to that
All
band.
of that. This is my first album I've done with them. The drummer in the band, Ronnie Siago, we've been lifetime friends for about 30 years, me and Ronnie. And Ronnie told me 3 years ago, give or take, maybe 4 years ago now, time goes so fast, but he goes, hey, we might be needing another guitar player if you want to audition for this band. Because I was so loyal with Bill and raising a family. I have two kids that are both, they're 24 and 22. They're both in the Marines, but up until 4 years ago, it was all about kids. You know, I had my studio, I was doing sessions and recording, and you know, I kind of dedicated myself to being a father. So I took off 15, 20 years of playing out gigs, and my gig was at home so that I could be home. So that was kind of cool. So anyway, Ronnie calls me because I told Ronnie, I said, my kids are 18 now, 18, 19. I'm looking to play because we've always kept in touch, me and Ronnie. And he said, well, the band I'm in, because Ronnie's always playing with people, he said, they're looking for a guitar player, or they might be soon. And it turns out a few weeks later, he says, yeah, they are. So would you like to audition? And that one I did get right away because, you know, he probably said, well, I know this guy, he knows what he's doing. And I came in and did the audition. And within 2 weeks, I did their first show because I can learn music really fast. Of course, I have to really kind of cram, but I have really good ears and I can learn stuff, and vocals and guitar parts and everything. So that was right. They kind of needed somebody real fast. So I just jumped in. I remember I was on vacation and we were at a hotel and I've got my earplugs and I'm at the pool. Everyone's doing their vacation thing and I'm learning Diane and Deductible songs, all my vocal parts and everything. But that's what you got to do when it's a cram, and that's how you cram, is you just do it. The reason I can do that is because I've been teaching all these years, and I've already mentioned about my ears. I can pick up things quickly. I just have a knack for picking up stuff and remembering what the parts are, the notes, the chords, the rhythms, the harmony parts. But it's still a cram. Doesn't make it easy. It just means that I can do that and retain it. And you know, it was a cram. So I was a little nervous on the first gig, but I did pull it off, and it sounded fine. It was cool.
That's
Yeah.
great. Well, I see you listed in the credits as one of the studios here, Walnut Recording Studios, El Segundo. Were you involved in the writing or the development of any of the songs, or just more in the
Absolutely.
recording?
One of my favorite things that I mentioned back when I was playing with Bill and Jack Bruce and all that, one of my personal favorite just things to do is just jump into an arena and start playing, and who knows where the ball is going to bounce, but you just play. That's one of my favorite things to do. This band, Diane and the Deductibles, that is what we do best. Is we all are seasoned players, and we just, okay, ready, go, and somebody starts playing a riff, me or the drummer or maybe Robert, and the other people just jump in, and Diane comes in with the recorder and just sits there and listens. And then maybe the next rehearsal comes back and she records everything. She comes back, she says, I like this idea and I like this other one over here. What can we develop? So we go, oh yeah, because remember, these are just passing thoughts. We're not trying to write a song. We're just literally jamming and see what shows up. It's very organic because there is no pre-planning. So anyway, she'll come back the next week and say, I like this little groove, because, you know, if it makes her feel good and makes, all of a sudden she starts singing lyrics to this one riff we were doing, then that's kind of an indication of, wow, I really like this. So she'd bring it in, she'd push record or not our play, and we listen back and, oh, I remember playing that riff. It lasted about 3 minutes or whatever. And we start building that song. Now, we didn't finish every song that we started like this. Sometimes we'd start a song and it would kind of fizzle out. But I'd say more often than not, we would start a song and go, okay, here's the riff. And now here's where the work begins, because how do we take that cool little riff and make a 3, 4, 5, 6 minute song out of something instead that doesn't sound like it's just a jam? So we would literally construct the song, and it was all open book. Everybody can throw in their ideas. Hey, what about this? No, that sucks. What about this? Well, that's cool. You know, and that sticks. And then sometimes it would take 3, 4, 5 rehearsals just to come up with the one song. When way before pandemic, before we would do a gig, one of our things was, let's bring in a new song. So we knew that if we had a gig coming up, let's say, 4 weeks from now, we got to have that new song done. So it was motivation to write that song and have a new song ready for the gig. And we would do that just about every show. It was quite exciting. It brought a nice little edge to the rehearsals, and it really fed our creative juices,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, certainly a great sound, and sounds like a good project. And you keep yourself real busy there. Want everybody to go to DianeandtheDeductibles.com to check out the new album 3 and find out, when the band might be performing next. And Keith, what's the website for your studio? Where can people go to find out more about you?
It's Walnut Recording Studios, just like I live on Walnut Street, and it's Walnut Recording Studios, and it's in El Segundo.
Well, really appreciate you joining with us, and we look forward to more.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks.